Pastor Jimmy O'Neill from the KMET Weather Center. For the Beaumont and Banning area, those daytime hours will give us mostly sunny skies, highs in the upper 60s to lower 70s. The daytime hours in the IE area, sunshine and abundance, highs middle 70s. Afternoon in the Coachella Valley, sunshine, high upper 70s to lower 80s. I'm forecaster Jimmy O'Neill for Smart Talk 1490 KMET.
That's right. It's the morning show here on ABC News Radio KMET 1490 AM. I'm Aaron Michael Sanchez. We got a lot of things going on this week. Things to look out for. Things that are going to be something to say, uh-oh, and oh no, and what? I know, top headline here. I hate to say this. It says, triple-demic. Viruses are back with a vengeance. I say, uh-oh. It says a lot of things going on this winter, which everybody are now looking at, are ones that people are going to have to be kind of aware of. I know the flu is coming pretty strong. I had some friends that actually were like, God, why do I feel this way? They're feeling like the chills, like, some are getting the runs, I don't mean the nose type, I mean the other, type. So if you got a flu type like symptom, you may want to get, just check just in case, and then make sure it's just the flu, and then make sure you're good to go. For others that are kind of susceptible, I do recommend getting the flu shot this season because from certain estimates, they're saying it's pretty bad. I did get that for my mom, and she was taken care of, so that was a good thing. But, there's still people getting sick with the shot. Give you an example, CDC Director Rochelle Walensky tested positive for COVID after getting her shot. And like I say, it doesn't mean you won't get the virus. It just means that you may be able to fight it better, but even then there's so many different variants and so many numbers that you go, what? And then there's this, I'm looking at this article, monkeypox is killing some people in Chicago. The health department is announcing, and people are like, what? I thought we were done with monkeypox. I'm like, no, it's still around, people. I had a conversation of like a week and a half ago, and I said, guys, like there's still smallpox, there's still all these things kind of coming back full center that you just at least want to be aware they're there. Okay, so a lot of people are asking, should their kids get the shot? And you got to remember that sometimes they got to go through certain how do I say, like certain things where they go, okay, it's safe for this or it's safe for that. It's basically, at least for one of them, 6 and above, and the other is 5 and above. I would go with the one for 5 and above. I was asked, like, what is it with the one here that you go, okay, so go for the 5 and above. I think you'll be fine. And then this one, yeah, here's another article, and they're all coming out right now. The focus is on New York and the U.S. for the first time in decades of that happens to be World Polio Day. People always thought we were kind of like away from it, but the circulation in New York is posing concern for the rest of the U.S. So that's kind of the question. So a lot of these articles are all coming up. And again, here's another article saying OMS variants pose a threat to people with immune deficiencies. So if you have an immune deficiency thing, and some people don't understand, even a simple, and I say simple, some people go, how dare you, because I have it, diabetes, right? Diabetes, oddly enough, is kind of in that category. So you kind of want to be aware of that. I didn't know that, not going to lie. I thought like that was talking about like people with AIDS or HIV or maybe like other things where they just can't get sick maybe because they had cancer, and maybe like, they got treatment for that and it built down their immunity. I thought it really applied for that like back in 2020. Then I got educated and I said, oh, whoa. So that's why I always say my mom, because, thank goodness my mom's been kind of, not sick ever. And I want to keep it that way. So, and if she does go out, I go, hey, I always remind her, wear, this or that. Don't worry about the way people look at you because it's still around. Don't think it's not around. Because I've had people literally that I know, and friends even, that I kind of keep quiet about. And I say, okay, well, what do? You can't get in a fight, as some say. You just got to go, okay, well, I'm still not going to get sick, and I don't want to get sick, and I don't want to be in bed, and I don't want to be, with all that. So you got to be careful. So whatever you're doing, just be careful. There's a lot of things that people are looking at. Now they're looking at certain things that they say the virus is causing, but I say one of the vaccines is causing back in 2021. And I said this. I said there's going to be more information about one of them. That's all I'm going to say. I chose to get at the time Johnson and Johnson, right? But that information is coming out pretty soon as well. So a lot of stuff to look at. I know people go, well, then why get the vaccine now? I go, well, once you do the research and you say, okay, who's ahead of it, who's not, there's always symptoms, there's always things that come out, but I'd rather be alive than, but there's a lot of like risk involved, just like treatments when you get any type of diagnosis and you get like maybe blood somewhere, maybe leukemia or something, and then you go to the doctor, you go, what can we do about this? They tell you the fix, but it's usually one of many fixes, right? Always ask, and sometimes they kind of like bring it on you, and it's kind of like, okay, what do you want to do right now? You always got to kind of go, wait, what else is there? Get a second opinion, even a third opinion, especially if it's something kind of fatal. You know what I mean? If it's like a fatal type of diagnosis. I know a lot of people are going to the doctor. One person I saw on my Facebook actually was literally going into surgery, and I'm like, what? Which I like it when people post that because it lets you know versus the other thing. I've had some people that I thought were alive literally commented on their Facebook, and then all of a sudden a friend tells me, they died. I go, excuse me? So if anything, keep those people in mind and be very aware that these things are still happening. We're not ahead of it, and we're definitely still going through it, okay? So there are some areas and some even stores that you'll go to, and it's like, I don't think it's a thing. Then there's some stores that you go to, and everyone's wearing a mask, right? So although it's not required, although it's not mandated, it's still a thing that you need, kind of be ahead of. Oh, and this, ahead of Thanksgiving, right? A lot of people thinking turkey, right? Whether you celebrate or not, there's still turkey, right? I saw a post, literally, that said turkey went up in price. I'm like, why did turkey go up in price? But it's because of this. A lot of birds and chicken, and including turkeys, are getting the bird flu this season. So one farmer said he lost 100,000 birds to what he called extremely virulent and infectious strain of flu. So that's happening. So don't get the bird flu, right? Because then they basically, once that happens, they don't treat them. They just say, okay, bye-bye. And they just get rid of them all, and they can't put them in circulation for food. So that's making prices go up. Here's one, dengue fever, right? 2 more cases in South Florida. They're telling people of Broward County, be careful of mosquito, right? You're like, dude, it's like not even summer anymore. But anywhere like that, you got to be careful. So you don't want ding, or dengue. You don't want ding. They call it dengue or ding. You don't want that. So if anything, buy a PlayStation, have fun. Buy a virtual headset, have fun, and just have fun. Speaking of fun, I know, Jesse, you had fun over the weekend on something that I recommend 100% go watch. What am I talking about?
Oh, yes. Well, first off, I want to say thank you for saying it was Polio Day. I breezed by the days of the week, the special ones. That I misread it and thought it was Polio Day.
You misread it? Like, you said polio. You mean Polo Day?
No, pollo.
Chicken Day.
Yes.
Pollo Day, not Polio Day. Got it. Okay, Polio Day. Right. Yeah, you're welcome, by the way. You're welcome. Yeah. National.
Yes, I was like, oh, that makes sense now. Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, that's what happens when I read too fast. Okay, but yeah, this weekend, Black Adam. Oh my God, I love that movie. I was not expecting to like it as much as I did.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a fun movie. It was a fun ride from beginning to end. For me, the main reason I wanted to see it was because of Pierce Brosnan. I mean, that man does not seem to age. Like, he ages super slow, but it was cool to see him be a superhero in this movie. It was awesome.
I will say this: it's one of those characters I don't think a lot of people know. If you know comics, like, of course you know the obvious: Spider-Man, Superman, Batman, right? You know all those, right? But you're right. I think this is the one we talked about on Friday, and I said, it leads to the Justice Society of America, which actually kind of morphs into the Justice League of America, but they're doing it backwards, whatever. But great movie, man. And I think, for people and fans, don't listen to the hype of critics, I think. I think that's kind of the main thing, right, Jess?
Oh my God, yeah. Okay, so critics who do not read comic books or know their whole origins and just nothing about their history should not critique this movie because they absolutely know nothing.
No.
Like they kept comparing it to the Avengers or the X-Men and stuff like that. I'm like, first off, many of these characters outdate them by like 20 years, 30 years.
Oh yeah, they're the original.
Yes, and so it was just like I was like, ugh. But either way, because they kept comparing it to like the Falcon, which with the Hawkman, Doctor Fate, and Doctor Strange. While they're similar, they have a completely different origin story, and I don't know. But I enjoyed this movie so much. I just felt like Dwayne Johnson was just like, because I think he was working on this project for nearly like what 10 years.
He wanted it made.
Yeah,
I don't know the story behind why he wanted it made, but I say good job, right? And it's a part of the obvious, like when you think of the Thunderbolt. If you've seen Shazam, if you haven't seen Shazam, this isn't a Shazam movie. Shazam, in a way, it was more of a hybrid. And what I mean by that is, again, there's some things you go, what? But you go, okay, they're in an area, kind of like areas now, right? Which I think kind of speaks to people in a way, especially when they go, yeah, but you're not here. You don't know how bad it is for us, right? Like there's places like Iraq, right? There's places like Iran, right? There's places like Afghanistan. There's places where there's missiles all the time. And then you have a hero or anti-hero, you don't know what he is just yet, kind of come in and all of a sudden disintegrate people, right? That in of itself you got to be aware of, because I know some kids are like, what? Like, is that a thing? Is that, and I say, well, if you know what they have to kind of go through, then you understand why they're kind of like, yeah, we like that guy, right? So, because you don't understand what's happening in the area where they're kind of under like siege, right? Because there's some areas kind of like the U.S., right? People are like, okay, and that's where I have a question of the Justice Society of America. They're kind of like on the side where you go, I don't know that I like him until the very end, right? It's kind of like you like Black Adam, and you go, is he not nice? Is he nice? But you have to go with what is he doing for people against tyranny, and then you understand that. Then you understand what you need to know, right, Jess?
right, and yeah, like I did not like the Justice Society. They came in like thinking they're the boss, they can do what they want. Black Adam's like,
Well,
nope.
and they respond to the Suicide Girl, right, of Suicide Squad, right? So there's nothing good there, right? Because she just, like, you know what I mean? Like, she's not the kind of girl, which if you've seen Suicide Squad 1 or 2, right, then you'll understand who she is. And it's like, after seeing the second one, she's like, she's ready to put anybody kind of in harm's way. Remember that?
Yes, Viola Davis. I love her. She plays Amanda Waller so well. Like if you know her from the comic books or even the cartoon series where she's like watered down, she is the I can't say the word online or on the radio, but yeah, she's a horrible person. I mean, but for a good reason, but she's just a horrible person.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna. I didn't know that was Viola Davis because I was like, I'm glad you said that, Jess. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, whoever that woman is, I hate her, man. And people don't know how bad she is, but she's bad. Like you said, she's the one basically to lock him up and then throw away the key because she doesn't want Super around. That's number one. Sure, she might be under the guise of they're doing people harm, but at the end of the day, she's the one to kind of work for government. Kind of like even now, you're like, okay, that's not the person that you want for life to keep anyone alive, right? So, as someone said in our social media, and I don't know if she's watching right now, but she said, stay for the end, right? Stay all the way through. If you have to get up and go to the restroom, that's one thing, but look for the first post-credit end scene, then you'll understand what you need to know, and that's why you'll also see why there's just so much excitement for this movie. But that woman, Jess, all I can describe is not good. Okay, she is not good. But Viola Davis, good job, man. She really brings that full center, and I love the Black Adam character, man. Dwayne Johnson rocked it, literally. And I recommend anyone and everyone see it this week before. And I think this is going to be around for a while, Jess. I don't think it's going anywhere. What do you think?
I hope it doesn't go away. I loved it. I can't wait to see what Dwayne Johnson will do for the DC universe.
Yeah, and I don't know why it took that long to get it made. I understand like it had to come after kind of Shazam. I kind of thought he was going to be the guy to go against the Shazam team, but I don't think so. And if you go early enough, you'll probably see Shazam trailer. Did you see the Shazam trailer for the next one?
I did. I want to watch it so bad. I can't wait. But I'm wondering, like, will Black Adam and Shazam all meet together? And I believe they will.
Well,
we're waiting for it.
yeah, and they're part of the same, like, but he's the one that I think they discussed in Shazam 1, right? Like, not all go good, blah, blah, blah. But you got to stay in the middle. I had to go to the restroom, not going to lie. And I was like, shoot. And then I came back, I'm like, what? So that's all I'm going to say about that. You know what I'm talking about, Jess. I completely missed how I thought it was, one thing, but it wasn't. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say. Now, Wakanda Forever is coming out soon. So see this before you see Wakanda, because remember, that's Marvel. But you might see some things. There was a little moment. I got to see it again. I'll see if it's in there. There's a arcade thing where they're playing a game. What was the game? Do you remember that, Jess?
I do not remember.
It was real quick. They kind of flashed through it. So I got to see it. And if it's the game I think it is, well, that's all I'm going to say. So anyone, if you remember it or if you saw it, sometimes they give little clues that I think they're going to do DC Marvel eventually. Because I think Disney is like, hey, we love these characters. Why not bring them all full center, right? Versus are kind of, you know what I mean? I mean, Marvel has been separate from DC for quite some time. But Jess brought it out. And I'm glad you brought it out because some people don't believe me. There were times in the comic verse where they brought DC and Marvel together in the same comic. So can they do it for the movies? I don't know. Property and intellectual property. People go, no, I don't think it's a possibility. Go ahead, Jess.
Hey, let me ask you a question. Have they ever mentioned any DC characters in any Marvel movie?
Oh. I will say this. In Chippendales, Disney franchise, they had Batman, Superman on the billboard poster. But as far as Marvel, I will say I don't know.
The answer is yes. If you remember in the Eternals, they referenced Superman, but that was as a comic book character. So,
ding, 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 ding. Good job, man. Yeah, because there's some things I have questions on about the Eternals that I saw a movie recently. I said, is that part of the verse? It's on Netflix. Go check it out. It's about people that kind of get like on a ship, and then they kind of go like, who is the one that's bad? And then the ship kind of has like little like things that look like the Eternal ship. If you haven't seen that, see Eternals as well, because I think they're going to do it really good, especially in the second one. All right, people, we got to take a quick break. We'll be back with more right after these messages. Stay tuned.
Football season is back, and every Monday night, the Two Coot Lounge at the Yamava Resort and Casino in San Manuel is where you need to be. Come cheer on your favorite team and become a Club Serrano member for your chance to win incredible prizes, enjoy food and drink specials, and be entertained by the 66ers dance team. It's the Monday Night Pigskin Party at the Two Coot Lounge at the brand new Yamava Resort and Casino in San Manuel in Highland, California. Rep your team, and we'll see you there this Monday.
Join Yvette Walker every Tuesday at 4 o'clock p.m. on KMET ABC News Radio, 1490 AM, FM 98.1, and Internet KMET TV for the Southern California Business Report. The show is dedicated to highlighting successful businesses and the individuals behind them. Yvette interviews the incredible people managing these enterprises that range from awe-inspiring sole proprietors to world-renowned organizations. The Southern California Business Report, Tuesdays at 4 o'clock p.m.
Tried shipping a package lately? It's amazing how difficult and time-consuming it can be. Packing, envelopes, boxes, second-day ground, next-day air, it's all enough to give you a headache. Next time, do yourself a favor, go with the pros at the UPS store in Beaumont. They'll pack it right and let you know all your shipping options. You can also take care of everyday tasks like copies, faxing, notary services, and live scan fingerprinting. And while you're there, pay your Edison, gas company, and Verizon bills. Open extended hours Monday through Saturday. The UPS store in Beaumont, located in the Oak Valley Plaza at 1440 Beaumont Avenue. Call 951-769-5956. That's 951-769-5956. Online at the upsstorelocal.com/5027 or Google 5027.
Take KMET 1490 AM with you everywhere you go by downloading our free smartphone apps found on the KMET website, KMET1490am.com. You can also go to the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store on your phone to download the free app. Now you can listen live or play any of your favorite programmers' podcasts using your smartphone. Go to KMET1490am.com and download your free phone app today.
The Holiday Inn Express in Suites and Banning is distinctively suited for your travel time out of the car. Off the road, you'll find a courteous, welcoming staff and spacious rooms with desks, flat-screen HD TVs, and comfortable furnishings. Enjoy the complimentary breakfast buffet, high-speed internet, and fitness center and pool. The Holiday Inn Express in Suites and Banning, conveniently located off the I-10 near golf, gaming, and entertainment. For reservations and information, call 951-572-5500. That's 951-572-5500, or go online at hiebanning.com.
Welcome back. Yes, go check it out. Black Adam is out. It is a movie worth seeing. I say see it in the theater if you can. Be safe while you do it, obviously. And take care of that. I did see this one article, Jess, not going to lie. I'm like, uh-oh, we're back. And this is in the state of Kentucky, which actually usually is all right when it comes to certain viruses. But this one literally says more Kentucky counties are facing high or medium levels of COVID. Should you mask up? Of course, the governor says, well, I don't think we should be alarmed, but it's up for the second week in a row. That's Kentucky, Jess. Not an area where you go, okay, well, we expect a lot of things from there, but when it comes to healthcare, there are certain areas which are kind of like distant from others. It's a lot of farmland, right? So if you have that kind of coming up, you go, wait, what does that mean, right? And which version of the virus is that, right? He says we should be cognizant that the coronavirus is still out there and we ought to watch this pretty closely. Now, he said that, and this is why I say, don't go with people that go, it's a thing of the past. I literally had people say that to me, and I say, don't buy into that thinking. I don't know who's spreading that, but it's not the right thinking. Until hospitals say no more COVID victims, it's still around. They say, yes, there are less than there were maybe last year, and that's good. I looked at some totals. I said, okay, there are less. But the number taking up beds in hospitals, intensive care units, is manageable right now. But again, it's October, November, December, January. Those are the months to watch next, okay? So what I say is why not just be aware it's around and not be like, okay, it's 2018 again, right? It's not 2018, right? We're still dealing with this. And as long as we, have to deal with it, we have to say, okay, we don't want it. But again, they're starting to see it come up again in Kentucky. So that's the graph. I'm going to post it right now. And you go, okay, well, it's not that bad. But it was kind of a county where it wasn't a thing. So they're kind of like, okay, rest, yay, right? And that's what, like, even here in, like, certain parts, because there's certain things just not really out there when it comes to information, because they're focusing on Ukraine, they're focusing on Russia, they're focusing on crime. Crime is pretty bad. Yes, I don't know if you saw some things over the weekend. I know I did on social media. If I don't see it on social media, I almost like it doesn't exist, right? But that's the graph right now, and you can see it at the bottom left. It's mainly green, but that means it's there. So what they don't want it to get is to the yellow, and if it gets to the yellow in Kentucky, then obviously the orange one, which will be high, will be the one that people go, oh no, what do we do? So that's just Kentucky, right? And so they're in the news right now about that. But remember, I know a lot of us don't live in Kentucky. I don't know if any of our listeners do. If you do, or you know someone there, just be, aware. They're like, okay, what do we do next? And I say do what you did in 2020 when it came to certain levels. And you said, okay, we hate to say it, but we're back in fall season, so we're going to go back with that because it's still around. If you do that, I don't think people will be like, okay, as bad as they were in 2020 when they were upset about putting anything on. It's not like you have to teach people, again, what to do, right? It's just like, hey, just wear a mask. And don't mandate it. I keep saying this. It doesn't work. Don't mandate it. I love how it said it in one area, and this was in Arizona, by the way. I took a picture. It says strongly encouraged. I thought, okay, you do that, people will be like, okay, they may or they may not, but you won't feel bad for doing it, and you won't feel like bossed around, which I think people get kind of that feeling like, I don't like to be told what to do. I go, well, you obviously don't like, a ticket when you drive fast, right? Or if you know what I mean? Like, you got to be aware there are things you're not going to be like happy with, but they keep everyone safe. So that's a story. That's what you need to know. Jess, I know you got a story over there. What's going on?
Oh, yes. Okay, so Casey sent me this story yesterday, and I laughed so hard. I wish I knew this person before they passed away, and kind of sad. So, a Texas grandmother, she was 81. She passed away from cancer, and she has an amazing sense of humor. Okay,
Okay.
so she left a little note for all of her guests that were there. It was a little picture of herself, flipping them off, and
Okay.
and a little message next to it says, "Let's keep in touch." And when
Oh,
you
no, she did not.
and attached was a little mini Ouija board.
No.
I could not stop laughing. That was hilarious.
She's like, see you on
I
the other
know-
side eventually.
I know some people are freaking out, but this is a funny sense of humor. I loved it. It was
Well,
it was
You-
amazing.
You know what she did? She did what Houdini did. You know Houdini didn't like mediums or anyone who spoke with the dead. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah, he actually said to his wife, he said, look, there's a lot of them, right? Because he was in the world of magic, right? He was an illusionist, escape artist, all that, right? So he knew a lot of people who said they spoke with the dead. But he said, look, when I die, worst case scenario, here is a word that you need to know. And if they say this word, then yes, they're obviously talking to me, all right? So he kind of did that little, like, if you want to trust anyone, trust this, right? So I don't know if she ever came across saying, like, she had a lot of people come to her because he was very famous at the time, right? If you look at the story about Houdini, it's very interesting. But in essence, from the information that I gather, there was not one person who could get that word, so she knew not to trust anyone. Because he's like, no, I don't want you, But if it happens to be a thing, which he didn't believe in, right? Because he knew how to escape. He knew what he did. There was nothing magic about it, right? He knew in order to escape, you have to hide the key, or you have to figure out, like, a thing, to, like, put people to kind of not know. So he really didn't believe in, but he said just in case, because he loved his wife that much, right? So I think if you look at that, you go, okay, that makes sense. So back to this woman. Obviously she went out with a, but I always say to people, don't participate. Okay, there's nothing good with the Ouija board. I have yet to hear someone say, oh, I benefit from it. They hear some weird things. I had one situation. I remember I was on the street and I was trying to help someone, and these kids made a makeshift one, and it didn't burn when they figured out, oh no, that's communication with the wrong thing. It's like a portal to the wrong, you know what I mean? If she's there, she don't want to be there, trust me. But that's all I'm going to say about that. Yeah, it didn't burn. And then they prayed about it, and then it burned. I was like, there was no wind, and it just like, it would not burn. And it was paper. They made it out of paper. That's what I mean. So it wasn't like a big board like they have now. It wouldn't burn. And they're like, and these are kids. And I'm like, you don't know anything about that, huh? Let me help you out. And then they saw, I said, and so I don't think they did it after that. Anyway, be careful out there. I know some of you have. I get that. But again, some weird things happen with it. People go, I don't want to talk about it. And I go, yeah, well, like I say, just don't. Okay. Anyway, that's my story. I'm sticking to it. Okay, we're going to take a quick little break. She had a sense of humor, not going to lie. She's like, look, if I'm there, there's got to be a way to say, hey, what's up? All right. We'll be right back right after this. Stay tuned.
Your Pharmacy and Mobility Solutions is now Beaumont Pharmacy with a new location at the Sundance Corporate Center. That's at the corner of Highland Springs and 8th in Suite 110. Of course, they still have Pack Your Meds. No more counting out the pills, dropping them on the floor. Oh, what a mess. And they have a full selection of pharmaceutical CBD. Wheelchairs, over-the-counter meds, you name it, they've got it. So if you're looking for the best and you want the best pharmacy, you go to Beaumont Pharmacy at their new location, 835 North Highland Springs, Beaumont Avenue in Beaumont, California, Suite 110. Give them a call, 951-845-8252.
out the door, in the car, off to work. The same old morning routine. Take a break and stop for hot coffee or a latte and a fresh homemade cinnamon roll or chocolate cream puff. Donut Delight on Highland Springs Road in Banning is a locally owned family business with a friendly staff and customers who are always glad to see you. Get your morning off to a great start at Donut Delight on the corner of Highland Springs Road and Ramsey Street, right off the I-10 freeway. Serving the Pass area for 22 years. Donut Delight is open at 4:30 a.m. daily.
Standard time is here. That means shorter days and cooler nights that make you want to stay inside. Don't get caught in the cold. Franklin Mechanical Systems can do a preventative maintenance check on your heating unit. Get it working right. For cleaning, repair, or a new installation, call them for a free estimate. Franklin Mechanical Systems, for all your residential and commercial heating and air conditioning needs. Call their Beaumont office at 951-845-1000. That's 951-845-1000, and stay warm today. New teen driver in the family? Just bought your first home? Have a new bundle of joy? Every life change matters, and by reviewing your insurance policy with Little & Sons Insurance Services, you could be benefiting with big savings. Little & Sons Insurance Services, a family-owned insurance agency who values the old-fashioned way of doing business. They work for you, not an insurance company, meaning your best interests are at heart. They can custom tailor your policy based on specific needs at a price you can afford. Home, auto, or business, you're covered. Call 1-844-9-LITTLE. That's 1-844-9-LITTLE, or go online to little, the letter N, sons.com. That's littlensons.com.
When you want the best performance for your vehicle, think only of Scott's Headers and Mufflers in Beaumont, right off the I-10 and 60 freeways. Check out Scott's complete list of performance products on their website at hdrinfo.com. Scott's Headers and Mufflers can recommend ways for your car or truck to get better gas mileage and cut down on emissions. Need your car or truck to pass smog only? Go to Scott's Headers and Mufflers in Beaumont. Find out all of your questions on vehicle performance by logging on to hdrinfo.com. Scott's Headers and Mufflers in Beaumont, hdrinfo.com.
Hi, everyone. This is Bernadette, the host of One Life Radio, your number one source for alternative and holistic health since 2011. One Life Radio is designed to educate and inspire. Visit us at oneliferadio.com because you get one body, you get one mind, and you get one life. Get out there today and make the most of it. Tune in weekdays at 1 p.m. on 1490 KMET Smart Talk, ABC News Radio.
Welcome back. Yes, it is the morning show here on ABC News Radio, KMET, 1490 AM. We got a lot of things going on. Jess, I know you're working on something, but I got to say this real quick. If you come across it, check it out. This is a thing, and this little guy, he's so cute. Any of these pictures are pretty awesome. It's the awards. I didn't even know it was a thing. It's the Comedy Wildlife Photography Awards finalists. All right, so they got some pretty fun pictures. You're used to seeing pictures usually like of nature that aren't like very, like they're just in their habitat. But man, some of these pictures are hilarious. You're just like, okay, these animals are so cute. So yeah, just that what looks like. Yo, what's up? Like I can see Rat going, hey, I don't like being in winter, but if I gotta, let's do it the right way. Where's Groot? So anyway, there's that. Jess, what's going on over there?
Oh my God, raccoons are cute and scary at the same time.
Yeah, especially if they have red eye, right, or rabies. So be careful there. There's some people that I've been seeing on YouTube. Go check it out, by the way. They're cute as all get out. Maybe we'll share some here. And there's some interesting stories of them raising them from very young, right? And they stay very just like, you're my mom, you're my pa, right? I saw one with a cat, and you're just like, what? They're not from the wild. They just saved them somehow because they're in maybe areas where they can do that. But make sure they see the vet is all I can say, because they do get stuff, and neither here nor there. Some people say, wow, how dare they take them out of there? I go, well, they rescued them, so maybe they lost their mom. You don't know. Sometimes you hear a little squeak outside, and they're cute. They're really cute. Anyway, but be safe. Seriously, be safe. Just go ahead.
So I will never make fun of someone who got a flat tire on the freeway ever again, because it might happen to me.
Ooh. Oh! Wait, why would you make fun of them in the first place, Jess? I never do, because there's nothing fun about a flat. I had a flat, and I hated it, but what you're talking about, I have a theory on. Go ahead. What happened?
Oh my God. So yeah, so apparently there was like a huge delay on the 405 a few days back, and 30 people in a row got flat tires.
Yep.
30. And well, more than 30, but it was just like what could have done it, and wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
Right?
our very own ABC7 actually covered it. If people didn't know this happened on what freeway, Jess?
It happened on the 405. You know what? Are we the only ones who just name the freeways after the number?
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, whenever I hear people from California talk about the freeways, they always go like the 110, the 405, but then when I hear people on the East Coast, they'll be like, yeah, we're going to highway, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what?
Oh, evidently, yeah. I didn't know that, by the way. I didn't know that.
I'm an independent.
It happened all at once. And by some estimates, about 36 or so, probably 38, 39, right? Maybe even 40. That probably didn't know right away. And they were all piled up, all waiting to be towed away because a lot of them didn't get maybe like the tire fixed to begin with. Some of you, if you have a flat, you need a spare, right? But you want to make sure your spare is taken care of, right? And I guarantee you it was not a fun day in the life of these people. But I think someone profited down the street. So I would be like, did somebody literally, I always think that. I don't know why, but I think if I were a tire person, would I be so bold if I were like wanting money to put nails in the road? What, Jess? To be like, okay, now you got to come to me. You know what I mean? You know, and make a deal with the tow truck drivers and be like, bring them to me. I got the tires ready to go, right? Like, do you think someone did that? I get these thoughts. I'm not saying I'm going to act on them, and I'm not a tire person, okay? But do you think that happened, Jess?
You know what? I tried to come up with a solution on like a theory on like what happened, and you know what? No, I have no idea, other than a box of nails falling off somebody's truck. But just to like, I don't know, just to get 30 in a row, that's some impressive numbers. I have no other than that. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. So that, if anything, is something I'm going to say, not a thing I want. But you know, so according to this, they suggested whatever caused the incident was not intentional. Officials believe a box of nails or a wooden blocks fell off a lorry causing the hazard. So see, not wrong, but I think, I'm just going to say this, Jess, whoever profited down the street, whoever those took, I don't think they expected so many, like, oh, shoot, you know what I mean? But if you got a 405 freeway flat anywhere in the last, like, several months, I have a feeling somebody released too many, and now they're like, shoot, they're on me, right? But nobody's going with who's profiting from this disaster. Seriously, that's a lot of cars all of a sudden with a flat, Jess. You know?
I know, that's why I was like, what? At first I was laughing, and then I was like, wow, 30? No, that's kind of messed up. But yeah, flat tires are scary, especially when you're on the freeway.
Yeah, there's nothing. Look, when I had one, it blew out. My tire completely blew out. I kind of saw it coming, but I thought I could push it, right? So I will say I've had my tire changed a couple times. American Tire is highly recommended by me. All right, they do have credit things that they can do worst case scenario. Because if you are, it's not fun. I'll tell you right now. If you already got no money in the bank, right? And a lot of people I talked to over the weekend have no money in the bank, right? They're like, dude, where'd it go? I go, I know. Even my mom and me, we've been like, okay, we need a budget. You know, we look at like certain things that we want to buy. And I go, okay, is this an investment for us long term? We bought a computer, not going to lie. And I will say this, at Best Buy, they do have specials that I recommend for like $3.99. All right, HP has some devices, Lenovo, some Asus or something like that. And actually, we got one because we had originally gotten one for like $1,800, right? Because I needed it for work and other things as we stream a lot, right? But that one I took back because the fan was so loud, and that was like months ago, right? Several months ago. Since then, we've been tightening the budget because we're like, are you kidding me, right? One time I literally went to go shop, and I was like, with the stuff that we needed, you know, we're banding together, and we're kind of like, you know, like, okay, what next? And for a week's worth of groceries, we made it last for like a week and a half, but it was like $300. And I'm like, what? So we literally are like, okay, don't need that, don't need that, don't need that. So sometimes we have tostadas, right, out of like, corn tortillas and, beans. I've seen some estimates by some people that post like, how do you minimize what you spend? Meaning, how do you budget, right? Because people are now saying, oh, shoot, because prices are high. I literally saw this woman, I don't know if, and she called it out. I thought it was so smart. I'm like, yay, finally. She called it out, and this was a legal thing. They didn't really make a lot of buzz, but if you search it, it's on TikTok. It came on TikTok, and it was a lady who said, look, you guys have profited since 2020 a lot. And she said it in a way that the guy was like, yeah, and I'm like, wow, that's because you have money. But people that don't have money, I've been saying this for some time, it's a thing. And it was a representative of Congress who said it. She called him out. She said, okay, normal like profit is 20%, right? And she said it, and it was very interesting. She said, look, of a $10 item, you would profit like $2, right? And he said, yeah. And she said, okay, what's this graph about? Because when she showed the graph, it shows such a sharp, like, up. And you could tell the graph was off, like, to kind of make them look not that bad. But it was, in essence, the sharpest incline of what they call inflation, but I call a sharp rise up to take advantage of people financially. So you look at certain organizations that take advantage, like financial. I'm trying to find the post. I know I took a picture of it. I can't find it right now. But the representative was very smart about it, and she called it out. And I was like, smart. I'm glad you did. So let me Google it, because I know it was very, because people were like, what? Because I've been saying this. I wrote a book about it, that we've had this sharpest, sorry, it was representative, U.S. Representative of California. I don't know which representative she was, but she called it out about, and she has a graph. So if anybody knows that, or you saw it on TikTok, check it out, about inflation and profiting. And she made she kind of said it in a way that didn't really make sense. But she talked about corporation. There it is. Representative Katie Porter. There it is. Look it up. Katie Porter. Okay, she called it out. I'm like, good job. I don't even know who she is, not going to lie, right? But she said, in essence, you corporations are taking advantage of people, and that's not right, because numbers are off extremely, or they're up extremely, I should say. And I say off because if you look at, like, and we kept talking about it, but I talk to people, it's almost like zombie mind, right? Which probably had coronavirus, and they have, like, brain fog. But the point is, like, I go, but why do you think that is? And they never have an answer. They go, well, Russia, or, oh, inflation, it is what it is. I go, no, you don't get it. So kids nowadays are kind of used, like if they're 15, 16, 17, and 18, they're used to the prices. But if you go back just 2 years, and the graph showed, let me type it in so maybe somebody has it. Do you find anything on it, Jess?
No, I do not. But yeah, are you telling me yeah, I don't know. These rich executives, you're taking away money from them? Why?
Well, no, you're not taking money away from the rich executives. You're giving all the money to them. So the graph shows ever since the 40s, 50s, and 60s, it shows what is always a thing, that certain people say, oh, okay, it's called a incline of inflation up. All right, that's why, like, a dollar always goes up in price. I had this conversation with my mom. I said, Ma, everything starts low when you're a new, like, government or a new country. It starts very low, right? Like pennies, right? But the older the country is, the longer it kind of, like, stays high. Like, there's certain areas when you go, like, okay, what is a dollar there, like with a ruble? If you look at ruble, it's like you feel like a millionaire, right? You're like, a dollar, do the currency exchange, Jess, and you'll understand what I'm talking about with that. But in essence, she, through a graph, showed, okay, this is a gradual inflation chart. And when she brought it out, she, in essence, showed that there was such an incline. She called it like a Top Gun incline, that people were like, what? And some people didn't even know what to make sense of. trying to find it. She uses a lot of graphs in her stuff, and some people kind of superimpose graphs, like covering up the biggest thing that really people need to stop making fun of, because you're paying top price for things that should be very bottom, just so you know. But the graph was very simple. It shows such an incline since 2020. That's why I say it's off, technically. Any graph, anyone knows this. You can make a graph look little or big, depending on what you do. So it's not a correct graph, I will say, but it is a big incline since 2020. One which should be over like 8 to 12 years, or even some estimates 10 to 20 years, depending on like who wants to profit eventually. I'll give you an example. Gas had the sharpest incline as of recent. Granted, some people go, well, yeah, duh, we had the situation. And I go, no, it doesn't work that way. And they always quote now Russia. Before Russia, we had inclines that shouldn't have been. Okay? Oh, here it is. Perfect. I'm going to bring this up, okay? Because lover or hater, I really don't know anything about her. And I don't really care at this point, because she called it out. And the guy that she was asking was like, yeah. And I'm like, you don't pay a lot at, you got a day job through government. Of course you don't care. A lot of people that are like minimum wage, they do care, okay? So I'm going to bring this up. Here it is. She called it the Top Gun kind of trajectory, okay? I'm going to bring this up on and try to help you make sense of what you're seeing, okay? This is over the years, okay? And you see the dip there? The dip is interesting because that happened in, I think, let me bring it up so I can see it, in the 70s. Let me see, open link, a new tab. Yeah. And I'll talk about this on the social media part of it after. It's a little blurry there. Oh, there it is. Okay, in late 79, 80, it went down. Okay, this is markups. Okay. The earliest one is around 55. Okay, 1955 to now. That's why I say the graph's technically off. But do you see that sharp up? She called it the Top Gun trajectory. Almost vertical. In a year span, even some would say a year and a half span, that's called gouging. High gouge. And this is of corporations all across the country of the U.S., Jess. Okay? So I'm just going to let you stay there with that. Remember when the big thing was the 99%, the 1% profit, blah, 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 blah. Do you remember that?
I do remember that. Go ahead.
Remember when they were angry and they were mad and upset about all that, but now they're like, whatever, we're going to have to pay, whatever. Well, it doesn't affect you if you have like thousands of dollars coming at you. You go to the supermarket, you don't care, right? But if you're making minimum wage or you're making 30 to 40 to 50 to 60,000, you care, especially if you have a family of 3 or 4. Okay, you care. I saw people at the theater, Jess, kid you not, who in a bag had their food because they were like, and they were on a date and they're young because they cannot afford the price anymore, right? If you went, you paid anywhere from $5 to $6 for a drink, right? I love, going to the going, but I almost like gassed when I was like, I had a hot dog and I didn't buy it, but it was like $8 for a hot dog. And I'm like, not going to happen. All right. Recently, I looked at certain prices, Jess. Do you know what I'm talking about? I got nachos for like less than that. But you know what I mean?
Okay. So I may or may not have snuck some tacos in my jacket pocket or fiance's purse. I don't know.
Or thought of doing it.
Or if some tacos, burritos just like magically fall in there. It's not my fault. But I did buy a drink because I can get the the free refills.
Yeah, I did too, right? I did too. I'm not gonna lie, right? I go, okay, this is that's why I like the drive-in, because you don't have to feel guilty about it. At the drive-in, $10, you get to watch the movie and you get to take in any stuff, right? But if you go on a date, usually you want to impress, right? But these prices, they're like, no way, I don't want to impress. So I saw this little lady taking in a bag of stuff, and I'm like, I never seen that before. That's how bad these prices are. Okay, so when you look at this chart. All right, I know we got to take a break. But if you look at this chart, Jess, this is the chart which you need to really question, why are we paying this high than we ever have? That sharp up, okay? And you see, ever since the 70s, late 70s, early 80s, they say the economy rebounded in the 80s Reagan, Clinton, and other, right? So you see, of course, it went up. But that little down, it went up in the 50s, 60s, and then we had a slump, mid-70s. And some remember that, actually. Gas shortage and all kinds of things. People were lining up for gas. It was really bad in the late 70s, right? People that remember that would know. But that increasing thing has been due to, honestly, like people being able to pay because the U.S. has been pretty profitable overall. But if you look at that sharp up, that happened during coronavirus when we all were suffering. So in essence, are people gouging or making up for the loss that they may have experienced due to either A, loss of work, B, loss of time, C, loss of, you know what I mean? So back to tacos, Jess. I see, some prices at certain like establishments, they go up and then they go down. Thank God Taco Bell is what it was before, right? Thank God Jack in the Box is still 2 tacos for 99 cents, right? But that is unheard of when you go to the store. When you go to the store, these prices are sometimes double, triple, and even quadruple. There are headphones and headsets that are like $300. I'm like, who's going to pay that long term? Now, if you have money coming in like in the thousands, yay. Some would say hundreds of thousands, yay. But I guarantee you, if you have kids right now, you're going to want to have a conversation with them and say, how much are you spending? Because that's not the way it is. And people should say, in essence, 2020, let's go back to that math. And even if you go up a little, you don't need to go up that much. If anything, you remember all the stuff that were on the shore, those things were like there, and people were like, how come they're not being unloaded at the shoreline, mainly in stores? So why did we have to pay double, triple, and quadruple when in reality you want to move those things away? Some would say tariff of what Trump did. Some would say certain like things that people did, and there's going to be all kinds of answers because she called it out. Why are corporations making this much money on people that are in essence making barely minimum wage? Okay, there's a lot of people going to have to say foreclosure. There's a lot of people going to have to say vacancies for rent. And people are going to need to go back to the way it was in 2020 to make sense of it. That's what I say. I know we run out of time, so we can't do a break. But my point is this, people. And I say this, I'm glad she mentioned this. Katie, whatever you do, whatever I don't really care. But thank you for bringing this graph up because it causes people to say, in essence, what we've been saying on this show for some time, you got to call it into question. Gouging is a thing that you shouldn't be allowed to do. We say this, or we've said this, in a fire, and we've had some over here, you're not supposed to gouge people double, triple, quadruple because of a disaster. You should do the right thing, but a lot of people don't. But there is certain things and protections due to government, thank God, that can be enacted where they say, hey, by the way, you're taking advantage of people, and that's not allowed because you get a lot of money and, honestly, benefits from government. So that's why they're calling out, especially if you're publicly traded. If you're privately, then that's not a thing. But it can only last for so long. So somebody's profiting. Is it you? Probably the answer no. But if it is, yay. But bring back the price, okay? That's all I got to say. All right, people, make it a great day, whatever you do. I'm going to still be on. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We'll be right back right after these messages. Jesse, take it away. All right, people, I'm still here, but and thank you. Big shout out to Diana, who says their theaters don't make money off tickets; they only make money off the refreshments. Actually, they do take people. That's wrong information. They do make money off the tickets, especially if that movie stays in longer. There's a percentage profit there. I know because we were going to look at distribution for a film, and I said, okay, what does a movie theater make versus what a basically a distributor makes. But if you want to actually do it like at certain theaters, you actually can buy the theater for some time. There at the time it was like $15, $16, $17, $1,800 per theater, but you got to split the profits of the ticket as well. So they do make a little, not a lot, not the whole amount, because obviously it's got to go back to the distributor, but they got to count that in. So the money that you pay, I'll give you an example. Drive-in, okay, $10. The distributor that sends that, they require certain monies back, so they have a point of sale thing, so they know how many tickets have been sold. That's why, you know, they don't want people to, like, you know, take advantage of it and drive in for free. But some estimates are anywhere from 30 to 40%. And I know because I'm part of the Producers Guild of America, which actually Dwayne The Rock Johnson is part of as well. You'll see that in the end credits of the movie, which I highly recommend. But great movie, by the way. But I'll give you an example. That money that they're making, the theater does make a profit of. Not much, of whatever it sells. That's why they have those. Now, yes, they do make their money on refreshments as well, but it's not like they don't make any money. And I've always had people challenge me on this. I say, no, it doesn't work that way. You don't understand distributors and why certain films do get distributed and others do not. That's why you could actually, as an independent movie producer, buy a theater and say, okay, we're going to show this for some time. Whatever tickets come in, you know, but they make more because they're the theater chain. Now, when that stays in the theaters longer, 3 to 4 weeks, that percentage of profit changes. But that depends on how profitable it is, because they want to bring people to the theater. If it's not a good movie, they will get rid of it quick and fast, anywhere from a week to 2 weeks. That's why you're like, oh, they're already on, you know, like, you know, delay. Now, because of coronavirus, everything is going to streaming devices much quicker than they used to. But they used to be against that because they go, no, we want to make the most amount of money in the box office. Does that make sense? Plus, it's big, right? But that's why a lot of movies are not being, in essence, at the theater unless they're as big as Black Adam, which is super, like, awesome and great to see and all that. Yeah, managers always tell you that, but they don't know how it works when it comes to the profits of, you know, the theater. Now, and I will say this before we talk about what I was talking about, finances, but it kind of all ties together. Certain theater chains accept certain movies back to licensing, whereas others do not. Like we have here AMC Theaters and Regal. Sometimes Regal will carry things that AMC does not, based on who they already did a deal with when it comes to distributor. We'll call them like supply chain, okay? Or I'll give you an example. Like DC, right? Who distributes that, right? That movie, right? Is not really DC. It's the movie company that has all their ties in, but they say, okay, we're going to give this to you because it's already a big thing. It's a blockbuster type thing. The movie chain says, yes, we want that, right? There's a whole conglomeration, especially AMC. I remember seeing the executive of AMC say before they started offering, actually it was right after they started offering alcohol at certain establishments, they go, well, we got to make our money somehow. But AMC takes a percentage of a theater if you're tied in. Now, if it's corporate owned, they take all the money. If it is a person who owns the theater, they share that profit with AMC. It's kind of like a franchise, right? Which I have a book on that, which you can check out soon. But my point is this. There's a lot of people that are profiting from the bottom dollar. Now, there are certain chains, when they're open long-term, they dip the price because they can, right? Like dollar movie nights, right? On something. But they make more money in sale of, like, you know, Coke and all that stuff. So they high price that. That's why it's always high price. That's why you got to expect to do that, right? But like I said, back to people that go to the drive-in, you could take that stuff in and you're fine. Now you could buy there as well, but if you go to 7-Eleven for M&Ms that are like $2 and then you pay anywhere from $5 to $6 to $7 to $8 at some of these chains that you'll see, you go, why is it that high? It's because they profit there a lot. That's why concession stand is always ready to go, which is why I always say put more people there, because you don't want the long line, because you want people to be able to get in and out. That way they can get to the movie, because they're there for the movie, but they need the drink and stuff. So you need to put more attention to the people, because sometimes they don't. You ever been to a theater where you're like, popcorn on the floor, it looks like disaster and everything, you're like, okay, and you're kind of like, you know, the guy's like disgruntled and they hate you, right? And you're like, I just want my popcorn, you know, and then it's like dry or blah, right? It's not fresh or anything. They act as though they don't make money there, but they do. Back to what you're saying, Diana, who's in Florida on her yacht. She knows that that's, you know, how you profit. And you do. but it's not the only way. And managers never know this because they don't deal with the owner. The owner knows this, and that's why certain people, when I talked to them, I said, hey, did you know you could get your movie distributed through a theater chain? Here's a deal that you can take advantage of through Regal Cinema. They had a deal. AMC Theater had a deal for independent film. Yeah, but a lot of people didn't know it. But that was back in 2013, 2014, 2015 when things were good and you wanted that. So you built that into the price that you wanted for the film, and it was called self-distribution right away. So you just had to do the marketing, and that's where like Warner Brothers, you know, Marvel, DC, and all those kind of have that ready to go. They have those like on dial, so that they know exactly what the profits will be based on certain numbers and certain percentages of what people like. That's why some independent filmmakers never make a dime once it's out there. They just hit the film circuit route, and they don't make any money long term. They make a little when it comes to streaming, but because nobody knows it's out there, they really don't make a lot. So there's a lot of haves and have-nots when it comes to that, but you got to be careful there. So there you go. Big shout out to Algenia, who says people have to be creative when it comes to movie theater, especially when you have to take 10 kids to the movie. Yes. Okay. Yes. Thank you for saying that. And I saw actually no families of more than like 3 or 4 be at the theater together because it is expensive, right? You think a ticket, I'll give you an example. We have certain theaters that have recliners, right? You get real comfortable. But then there's ones that you got to sit upright. And I'm like, okay, which one do I want to go to? I went by myself, not going to lie, to go see Black Adam, right? And I paid $18.00, right? So I was like, okay. But if I went on a date with someone, I'd pay that, obviously, right? So now if it's a friend who's seen someone else and we're just going just for friends, I go, no, you're paying, right? I'm not. I don't do that, right? No, he can pay for you, right? I've done that. I call it out because sometimes they act like they're single, they're not, and you go, okay. I did that once. She was like, what? But we were long-term friends, and I said, yeah, if you're seeing someone and he's your guy, and that's how I found out she was obviously not single. I didn't know that at the time. Anyway, you just call it out. And then you're like, you're just friends watching a movie, right? Nothing happened. Anyway, long story short. But that would be like $40 out the pocket. Now you're like, what do you want to drink or to eat, right? I did buy her, I think, M&Ms or something like that. I don't know what it was. But my point is this. You're like easily just for 2 people, $50, right? $60 by some estimates. Now you go to dinner, that's $100. Sometimes $120, $130, $140, $150, $160, $170, or $180, depending on who that person is. That's what you got, with certain people. And I know you single people are dating out there, but some people have a little person on the side, right? But they're married, right? So the person's like, well, I go, yeah, you're seeing them. No, not going to happen. So yeah, call that stuff out. Let's see. Shout out to Diana, and she says, still want to see you at the Santa Rosa Beach, Florida for the Emerald Coast Film Festival. Hey, if they fly me in, I'm there. All right. So there you go. Let's see. Algenia says, gas supply and demand is up for trucking industry. Yeah, I believe it. Renee says, hello, everyone. You are awesome. Norma Reese, thank you for tuning in. Let's see. Also, Vadermom, Isabella, thank you for tuning in. Viviana, thank you for tuning in. Paul, thank you for tuning in. Anna Isbanar, thank you for tuning in. Stephanie Reed, thank you, always. Mercedes and Benjeni Lalusa, right? Also on Twitter, you guys are awesome. And LinkedIn, thank you for tuning in. All right, so inflation. Okay, I'm going to bring this up really quick so you guys understand. This is really important for you guys to know. And they always kind of like, yeah, whatever. She's, and they always go with party affiliation. I go, no. This affects anyone and everyone, okay? And you got to understand that, all right? Because if you are in the, I'll say if you make over 30 to 40, 50,000, 60,000, 70,000, 80,000, you should hear this. Anything 80,000 and above, you're like, whatever, you'd be like the guy the way he responded. She called it a Top Gun type of basically a huge up. Now, in some ways, that graph, if you do from, again, it's hard to see here. But I'll give you an example. Let me bring it up here so I can see it. It is from 1955 onward, okay, all the way to now. I'm telling you, whoever drew this graph just wanted to make themselves look good. But you see at the very left, it's a decline, actually, from what it was, early 50s, okay? And this is called, they say at the very top, markups, right? But this is profit. Okay, this is what causes inflation long term. Now, if you think of anything like, people think in the 50s, what'd you pay at the pump, right? Some would say cents, for a gallon. Definitely under $1, right? But that's why now we're up to $8 in some areas. I don't know what it's like in Florida. I hope you guys are safe. I know you guys had a huge hurricane. Don't know if you were affected there. But let's just go back to this chart. So in the 50s, it was a decline. And it hit probably the lowest price, according to this, I think that's, sorry, I'm looking for the number there because it's hard to read. 1961, yeah. 1961, then it went up, right? In the 60s, things were really nice, right? So it went up. Profit went up because you can take advantage of people when they're making money, right? So it went up, right? Then it started to kind of curve a little, and then it went down-ish in the 70s, okay? Vietnam, all those things were happening, right? A lot of people were like, okay, certain areas, gas shortage and other things, but it was down, right? It goes down usually at the time that it needs to go down in order to compensate so that people can stay alive and people can do the right thing, right? It's called kind of like the world in like whatever it is, right? Now, when it started to incline, that's when they're like, okay, we can finally make money here, right? So they started to incline. Again, this is profit or markup of the amount, that way they can make money, right? So basically they went down, now they've got to recover. Now, since the early 80s or late 70s, I think 79 is on there. I think of some things that came out around that time, Star Wars, Superman, some really cool stuff. We basically rebounded, but we have not been down to that level of markup since then. Okay, that's number one. Now, to a business owner, you look at this, you go, yeah, thank God, I got to make profit, right? And that's true, 100%. If you are a business, you want to make profit. It's 100% true. Okay, so we've been accustomed to a large markup for some time. And in like 2000 and up to now, it's been okay to about, I would say 2018. 2018, there was something that started and people were understanding it was difficult to pay down their own debt. Forget U.S. debt. This is called consumer debt, okay, in essence. So you'll see there at the far right, the reason she calls it out, she's really not talking about all the other stuff. She goes, look, this has been over time, right? How come this is so steep is what she wanted to say, but she didn't. Why is it such a huge incline? Meaning, incline sounds like it goes down, but it's an upward. That's why she called it Top Gun. Like, I would call it a space shuttle, right? Like a space shuttle trajectory. What the hey? At what point is it going to make a graph down, right? We're used to seeing that incline when it comes to a surge, but this is a surge of price. What happened? And I say people took advantage of the situation when it came to coronavirus. I've said this. I'll say it again and again and again and again and again. We cannot keep this long term. There's no way. There's no way. I'll give you an example. Let's see. What do I have around me that would make sense? I don't really have anything around me. Okay, I'll bring this up. This napkin, okay? This is a napkin. I have it right here, whatever. This is a napkin, okay? It's not paper. It's actually a napkin, right? Okay. I remember somebody saying, I cut it in half to conserve, right? And I thought, okay, whatever. Because at the time, we were budgeting, but we didn't have to budget as much as we do now. You make a little go a long way. But the cost of making this sometimes goes up because the supplier of this may charge more to the person making it, right? That's number one. Number two, the marketing of this, in order to know this particular brand, that's why sometimes you go to the store and you get like no-name brand, right? Because it's there. That's cheaper than the brand that is more expensive. Like you think of certain ones like Towel, like any of them that come to mind. Those ones get in your mind because they market that, right? Whether it be online or whether it be, on a commercial that you see. So you go, oh, I want that. Or you've always bought that, right? Some like whatever that comes to you when it comes to paper towel, right? So I say paper towel is paper towel, but some are more, I'll say some are kind of like if you put a test between them both, but some you got to use more to kind of soak it up. So the way they manufacture it, back to how you manufacture, you got to have an employee there, right? A lot of these have robots and things that kind of do things, and you have quality control. You have all that stuff built in, right? So the price of this in 2001, was technically lower than it is now due to what they call inflation, but I call markup or business profit, right? When everybody that manufactures this talent, if it's manufactured exactly the same way in 2000 to now, the only thing that changes is really what everybody pays eventually. That's what people don't understand. It's called a understanding of what people pay and what the norm is. Give you a perfect example on this. People that don't remember this, and these are the kids, they don't remember when gas, at least here in California, I don't know what it is around this, U.S. at the time, but here in L.A., which always we get kind of like the worst gas price possible. You in like Midwest and other states don't understand, because, and I'll give you an example. Type in how much you have to pay at the pump right now, and you'll see it's all over the place, right? And they always have answers. They say, well, California's an island, blah, blah, blah. I say, no, it's not. It's just you guys profiting more from it. But whatever. But if I go cross country in a vehicle, which I did recently, I saw prices at least all the way over to Texas. And I saw it all over the place. When I hit Arizona, which is the next state over, I'm like, oh, thank God. So I fuel up there, right? And it's county line. Once I go from California, it may be, at the time, it was like we'll call it 380 or 350. And then I go into Arizona, it's like 308. Let's just call it that, right? From like 356 or 357, maybe 358. So it's a good amount lower just by whoop, right? I go back and I pay more. So whoop, right, all that. Okay, now of course government takes a certain percentage of them, and they charge fees on top of fees on top of fees. But maybe the tax in one state is different than the other state, and in certain counties it's different, right? 9% in one area, 7% in another. So you look at the bottom dollar, you go, okay, I save money on drinks and or stuff that I want at the market, that they have inside, like a Coke or I have a couple Cokes right here right now, are cheaper in Arizona right now, technically, than they are here in California, right? That's the price of living, people say. That's the cost of living. Back to this chart. Across the board, anyone and everyone are making, in essence, less money when you figure this in. Unless you're making more than you were in 2020, you're paying at the pump, so to speak, or you're paying at the store, or you're paying with electronics, or you're paying with certain things that go up, not down. So some people look at it, they go, I'm not paying that. But I say, look at what you buy, then you'll understand, all right? Give you a perfect example. Let's see. Diana Genevieve in Florida says gas is about $3. Okay, here it's about anywhere from $5 to $6. Somebody called it out recently. They go, at Costco it was like 5 something. At like down the street it was $6. So we're double the price of you. Okay, so this premium gas is closer to 4. Okay, and that's what you should look at, the bottom one, right? That's what I say. We're going to the auto show pretty soon. We're talking about a lot of things like electric and hydro and other things, including gas. Like the miles per gallon really matters in vehicles now, because if you have a vehicle that is a gas chugger, you're here in LA visiting, you're paying a lot of money if you're just visiting. So that's why people are going to be like, I don't think so, right? If you go east, it goes down, but then it goes up in Texas. In New Mexico, it's actually down if you could find off the 10 freeway a gas place to fill up. Because some of them are like, whoa, they're just, they're long in distance. They go, not another stop for quite some time. And if you're like running on empty, you go, get it now, right? But again, it's different all over the place. I know in Georgia, you guys have different prices there, because I saw minimum wage at $7. I'm like, $7? My minimum wage here is, I think, 15 something, right? It's about to go up to 16 something, right? So cost of living is different all across the U.S. But back to markup. Markup had the highest, and there you go, okay, in just a year and a half. That's not right. That's why government is saying, whoa, 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 whoa. So in the next few months, we'll see some talk about this, but I say, who is padding the profit of if you want to talk politics, who's paying the profit of said president and or said administration or said things, right? Corporation pays in for certain people to be elected. That's why they're not saying anything about those right now. But you, as a person, are paying long term, so you got to be careful of what you buy. That's what I say in essence. But if you're a business that's new and or coming into this, you got to be aware there's going to be a sharp down all of a sudden, and that's called, we are in it no more. So the ones that have profit for some time, man, they put that money away, right? Some invested, some reinvested, and some profit long term. But if you're like Coke, which has been around more than a long time, they know keep it. But even that's kind of like, what? So my point is this. If you understand what your family is making, and then you understand what you're spending, and then you understand where you need to go with that, understand this. It's not going down anytime soon. Because they say, well, you know, we need to recover our profits due to coronavirus. That's what they're going to say now. But the point is this. Even if that's so, you're taking advantage of people that are dying. Now, some say, well, not a lot died. I say 1 million plus died here in the U.S. due to coronavirus. Some say no, systems are off. I say fine, 3 to 4%. Let's go with that. Okay? 3 to 4% may be off, but a good percentage died due to coronavirus. And coronavirus is still around. So are we in that mode of where it's going to be a thing eventually? I don't know. We have so many things to take care of it. You know, there are masks for sale. Those are down in price now. There are other things down in price. You remember when water and toiletry all of a sudden got sold out? All of a sudden the shelves were empty. Well, in certain areas like China and other places, which, oh yeah, that's right, they want to go to war. If they do go to war, then we have a problem there, right? Because now all electronics are going to have a problem due to supply. So then those prices go up. So that's my point. So basically, this graph you should really keep in your head right now and say, oh no, because that sharp up should not be a sharp up. If they were doing the right thing, it would be kind of like if you look in the early, there's some dips there. There's a dip right there. I think that little dip before it, there's a sharp, looks like a triangle up. The one before that, it goes down. I think that was the recession, right? I think. I got to look at the number because it's kind of, covered by that monitor, but whatever. My point is this. 80s, 90s, yay, right? Now, what's the difference? People profiting from coronavirus. That's all I'm going to say, all right? Don't profit during a time where people are suffering. Profit at a time where people are rebounding or abounding, or making it. Right now, people are, honestly, that's why there's so much crime. People are desperate, okay? People are desperate. They don't know how to pay it, and they go to crime of simple, hey, let's go ahead and hold you up. So you got to be careful out in the streets, okay? And here in LA, we have a lot of, at 7-Elevens, people, take advantage of the situation. We have ATMs being blown up. We have people going, I don't know how to deal with it, right? Because they were already making little to no. Now they're having to buy things, and these are the people that actually pay a lot for, headphones, you know what I mean? And sometimes shoes. So I say conserve and get through it. We'll get through it, right? But there you go. That's why they call it a world recession right now. No one, look, there are certain people that believe it and other people that don't. But I say this. If you pay $8 for gas, which we've had here in LA, and it's been fluctuating, and they said, oh, it's down. It was like $4.80, I want to say, $4.50, $4.40, $4.30, depending which gas station. And they're like, oh, it's down. I go, you were in a bubble of no way, Jose. But there you go. When Biden finally says, hey, by the way, we should strong arm these people to pay what they paid in 2020 because they took advantage of people during that year and a half to say, in essence, we're going to profit a lot no matter what. They always come up with war and, fuel line and all that. Nah, well, and I know those corporations hate me, but whatever. Do they listen? No, they don't. So you listen and make sure you make sense of it. All right, people, make it a great day. Whatever you do, remember life is worth living. Live it well. Bye-bye, everyone.